Well, there was the challenge of making the movie because the book on which it's based, it's a book that doesn't have a strong narrative. It's a book about ideas and a philosophy. So how to translate that to film? It is the question. And my director of photography and I, we spent a lot of time looking at books of photographs and paintings to try to come up with the look even before we scouted the film. We came up with the look we wanted because the environment is as important to me in this movie as the actors in a way, because as you note, the forest is so suggestive of not only the cycle of nature but also the cycle of this girl. We made one big change in the book, and this is the first time I've talked about this today. We made a big change from the book. In the book, the girl was 10 years old, and in our movie, she's 15. I wanted to make that change because at that age, that's when the cycle of life really is brewing. You know, she's changing every minute at that age, and I think all of this nature, the water, the trees, it's all that. It's all that stirring. It's very sexual, actually. I mean, that's something that we don't talk about much in this movie, but there's actually a lot of it's not only burgeoning life, it's burgeoning sexuality as well.
How did you go about directing actors, first-timers, and then people like Sissy Spacek or Amy Irving or William Hart, which are more experienced?
Yeah, no, it was a real mixed bag in that way. I mean, you have these wonderfully experienced actors, and then like Alexis, who had not done much acting at all. I think for me as a director, it's the most exciting because you're getting to work with all different types of people coming to acting carrying different bags with them. But I always, I always tend to like working with young actors because they're fresh. They're still excited about the process of learning, of learning acting, and so that's just very exciting to me. But to have this rich a cast, I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches. I mean, in times it was even frustrating because it's like you're hosting a cocktail party and you've invited too many friends and you don't get to have a real conversation with any of them. You're bouncing around too much. That's kind of the way I felt at times. Was I wish I could just spend all this time talking with William or Sissy, but it's an ensemble, so you're jumping around.
Did you feel the pressure of being faithful to a very well-known book for a certain generation of readers?
Well, it's a lot of the bar is set high because if a book is well loved, you're only going to disappoint because the reader creates their own movie, and I can't compete with their imagination. So you try to capture the spirit of it, and I feel if you can do that, then rather than comparing each page of the book to your film, it'll be more like, oh yeah, that reminds me of the book. And that's what I told the author of the book before we even started. I said, this movie is not going to be your book. It's going to be based upon your book. And she was actually quite relieved by that because it took the pressure off her as well of the specific translation.
Why was the villain? Tell us a little about casting the villain and why was it Ben Kingsley the one?
Ben and I had actually met. Prior to making this movie. We were meeting about another movie, but that meeting with him gave me the idea when it was time to cast this film. I just knew that Ben was the type of actor who, because in the book and in the movie, the character doesn't even have a name. He's just the man in the yellow suit, and I knew it was going to take a great actor to portray a metaphor. Basically, as you say, I mean, he is portraying all the evil qualities about us as human beings, and that's a tough thing to pull off. And I knew it was going to take someone great like Ben.